So this is a show in Taiwan that it's a political show. It talks about what's going on in the society right now, in the Asian, in Taiwan especially, and China. So the Wuhan is very bad, from swine flu to rat flu. Really challenged the political system in Beijing, and also create the whole world panic. And the local laboratory P4 created a new virus. They suspect that virus they created is created this Wuhan crisis. And how is it going to impact the politics, and how is it going to impact the people? So he's the best scholar on the panel. He's from the Taiwan University, Emeritus Mingju Zheng. He's expert in Chinese politics and going on. So they trace back to the genetics, and the Chinese Libertarian Army leaked, either accidentally or on purpose. But Bannon, they are talking about Bannon. Bannon also says that also agrees that it's from the P4 virus laboratory from the Libertarian Army, which is a very important base in Wuhan. So basically he's saying that it's very fast, and it happens so fast. So is this natural cause, or is this man-made? Because it's too the spread is too fast. They say that by February 4th, it's going to be 250,000 people will be affected. And it's faster than SARS. And he's saying that Bannon, by May, it's going to be 147 million people will be infected. So now there's 8 confirmed with 621 suspicious in Taiwan. And but the original is from the rat. They say now it's on the rat. It's not, and then it's not the market. It's not the snake. It's not the bat. What is it? So there's a authority, medical authority, saying that the P4 laboratory is so close to Wuhan, and only 32 miles. And inside the P4 laboratory, there's some problem, because might be not, very well. The French friend, he gave the friendship to the French politician. So what kind of laboratory is it that the French was giving a award? So what do they do in it? People start to be suspicious. There's 3. 1, somebody is very similar to SARS. So they found the genome for SARS, and almost 99%. No, but compared to SARS, only 60% similar. So it's a mutation of SARS, only 60%. And then 2018, the Chinese military found the virus in the bat. And they have published that research, Chinese, ORF8, this genome is 94% to the bat. so the Chinese government actually studied it. So is it the bat that was studying that actually leaked to the public? So last year, November 18, the P4 virus actually hired this Zhou Peng to study the bat. And right after that, November 18, after they studied, they hired these people and have a committee and to study. Very soon after that, the market exploded the virus. So last time with the virus, a lot of people suspect that it was from the laboratory, some sort of weird. And now they're saying that this is so similar to SARS that it could be another biological weapon that they didn't have good control and leaked. So they're trying to find out the origin of the virus and the political politics that trying to control the spread of the virus. It's not like you get it, you get killed. Like Ebola, they don't really last for very long. And last time SARS only lasted 1 year, MERS also 1 year. And SARS death is 10%. MERS is probably 20 to 30%. But this one is different. This one, the rate of death is about, it's not very high, but it's still infecting the lungs. So left one is the Wuhan. Inside, the whole thing is infected compared to the regular lung. So with lack of air, because it's impacted, lack of air. So both sides. So you cannot breathe, short of breath. So that's what happened in the past. The SARS X-ray in the past. It's not as bad as the one we just saw, which is the Wuhan. So this is the worst SARS X-ray. You see, it's all like infected. But it's still not as bad as the last slide we saw. Why did SARS stop before? Because once they die, they can't really spread. So you can one person to spread to two people. So it would die down slowly. So this virus, so SARS is receptive to heat. Once it's too hot, it dies. But this one, the Wuhan coronavirus, has a period where it hides. It doesn't come out as fast as SARS. So they were saying that hopefully by summer, if it's hotter, the virus might die down. Because we're in January, so it's gonna be a few more months. So this is basically a graph of by male 75% infected, and then with comparing to the so males seems to be more, and the death rate yeah, it's just a comparison of what kind of patients and how they progress. So they're using AIDS, RNA. They're AIDS medication to tackle, but they're trying to make this. So the whole world is trying to make this vaccine, but it's probably not going to be in time for another half a year. So it spreads. The whole inside China already have spread. And now, of course, Europe and other parts of the world. So they're hoping that if the weather is starting to get hotter and better, it's going to make the virus inhibit. So the lung, once you're infected, your lung is basically gone. You can't reverse the effect of the Wuhan in how it affects your lung. 15% chance of death, much worse than SARS. For now, only for now. We'll get more data later. Your liver, your kidney, you can, but you cannot wash your lung. So once it's infect your lung, so 叶克服, I don't know how to say that in English, but like if your lung is out, you can take your lung out, you can put a replacement lung, but you could die so easily. It doesn't really solve the problem. And then your arms and your hands will start breaking down because of the bad blood. But with a really bad lung, even if the virus died, your lung would not recover. It would just it would just become like fibrosis, So cannot be reversed. Yeah. Right. Scarred. You only have 50% chance of that you can breathe. So older people is definitely high risk. 50% of your lung is gonna be out. So that's a little bit different from SARS, because SARS doesn't impact your lungs as bad as the previous slide that we have seen. So he's a doctor. He's a doctor. So yeah, it's the whole thing is blocked and gone. So once you lack of oxygen in your body, slowly your body is gonna, that's why we saw some of the Chinese videos where people all of a sudden just drop, they just pass out, drop dead like fly, So they still suggest the flu vaccine. They still suggest the regular flu vaccine. He's saying that, and also the lung vaccine. Because it says that you could be very close to Wuhan, but then because of the vaccine you get, you might not be impacted so much. So they say that you should probably get vaccine. No, it's loading.
America. Less than 1% of our farmland is organic. And farmers who want to transplant.
I want to see that bit about 陈宁官 That's the host. Yeah. So politically, so that's a very bad sign for China when the prime minister puts on a mask. Yeah. Yeah, black swan. They call this virus a black swan now. Internally, White House, he says, he says he doesn't care about Wuhan. Tariff will still be intact. You still have to pay tariff. They don't care about what's going on. That's why I've been telling you that I think America's behind this. They don't care. They already come out and say they don't care what's gonna, even though China's economy impacted, they will not, retract the tariff. So President Xi came out during Chinese New Year saying that everything is kind of, Okay, so he's the famous scholar, Ming Zheng. He's a professor emeritus. He said, usually for the Chinese government never trust the data that they provide. Never trust them. It's not reliable. So now he's going to give some analysis. Second, so he says that this is what happens when you have an extreme political system. So they say that they force people to come out of the hospital, and they fake news that, oh, there's nothing wrong with our country, there's nothing wrong, So now the problem is, if the Chinese government didn't make the mistake, it wouldn't be so serious. But let's start from the beginning. So let's have a timeline of things. December 31st, the Chinese government sent somebody to Wuhan to check on the thing. Second day, January 1st, Wuhan says we caught 8 people who are doctors who spread the news. After 9 days, the Chinese health organization come out and says this could be prevented. This is fine. And then one of the health practitioner died from this. The Chinese government came out and to come out with the data. 4 days, never changed the data in 4 days. So what happened in those 4 days was that there are a lot of patients, relatives of patients come out, take pictures of the hospital and all that. In January 15, 16, British modeled the thing and says that maybe 700 has infected. And then they say that all the patients are being cremated so fast. And then President Xi came out January 20th. So Zhong Nanshan is the highest doctor of the Chinese health organization. So now finally January says, yeah, you can spread people to people. Finally, January 20th, they admit. January 23rd, 2 a.m., Wuhan says lockdown, and 8 hours for them to evacuate if they want to. So that's the latest. That's what's the timeline. So WHO, they send the record to WHO, Chinese government. They say that the earliest patient and the origin of the patient is the market. But the earliest 41 people, only 27 people has been to the market. 14 people never went to that market. So there are 2 possibilities now. So it's either spread people by people, or that market was not the only place that spread. There could be a secondary location. So December 12th, finally, they finally came out and admit that there were 2 people died. And January 20th, they finally admit you could spread. But the first person died. They didn't say that. So Shenzhen, like 6 people, 5 people been to that market, and 1 didn't go to Wuhan, also got it. So it doesn't matter Wuhan or Shenzhen, you can spread people by people. So the government didn't tell people about this. So older people are more susceptible. Now a lot of healthy people are dying too and infected. The earliest 40th mostly are less than 64 year old. 50% is between 25 to 49 age, which is totally different from the Chinese data. So the Chinese data is very problematic and very careful. You can't trust them. Why is it all of a sudden just lost control? From their point of view is that the Wuhan government the government of Wuhan came out and say that the Central Health Organization did not take it seriously enough. None of the officials came out from Wuhan, and they didn't come out to explain. They say that, even though a lot of people criticize us, we didn't react fast enough. But he says that's because we didn't get the authorization from Beijing to declare this. So it's true. But they say, well, this really delayed for too long. He said, well, if they didn't authorize, they can't say anything. So finally, January 20th, they say, okay, we can declare. Then they finally took the responsibility to close down it's not Wuhan, it's the central government, a communist government, central government that actually did to close down Wuhan. So there's a lot of problem with the central government that caused this problem. So December 31st, when the news came out, January 1st, Wuhan say that they captured 8 people who created fake news on January. Actually, all these 8 people are doctors, but they captured these people, they put them in jail. But they say that actually as early as December 1st already came out. Some people even say actually happened like end of October, November already come out, but they all, cover up. They cover up. They should have said something, but they didn't. They didn't say. Actually, as early as September, there was a wait. So it's going too fast. So basically, he said that as early as September, there was actually a what do you call it when you had a test done, when you had a can you pause?
Evaluation.
No. When you act out an emergency, what do you call that thing?
Simulation.
Simulation. So you're saying, so back in September they actually had a simulation of if something pandemic like this happened.
Did they simulate a coronavirus, or did they simulate just any type?
Wait, it's going really fast. He talks really fast. Okay, so a lot of it's true that you can't say it. Sometimes a lot of government cover up, but second, so yeah, it was delayed. It was very late, like after a month late. It's too late. So a lot of problems with central government, but trying to get to that part where it says September. So all problems with central government.
好了，那么即便到了12月31号，现在说消息已经出来了，然后帖子很多这个都已经发布了。
January 1st. So yeah, they caught 8 people who created the fake news, but actually they are doctors. December 11 to December 12. Actually, as early as December 1st. November, October, actually already out, but covered up. They say suspicious lung infections back in October. No, September, they had that thing. But they're going to talk about it later, about that, September. If any place had to close down, it must be the central government that decided to close down. That must be big, city. 11 million people. 11 million people, actually 15 million people, because 5 million people is from outside, not from Wuhan. So left to Chengdu, right to Shanghai. They are right in the crossroads of the middle of China. You can cross to the left of China or inner China or Shanghai, Beijing. So what if 500 million people left? 5 million people left. But if the government reacted faster, it wouldn't be so bad. And if they start admitted, but closing down is not the town is not the way to go. But it's all headline news in all major news outlets in America, New York Times, Financial Times. But in Chinese news, there's nothing. They didn't say anything. In Chinese news outlet media, they didn't say anything. So the headline was that they need to be strong together, and that the Chinese government is going to have a Chinese celebration, and that Xi Jinping was going to talk. But they already shut down the town. They didn't say anything in the media. Oh, not even Wuhan. They didn't even, the central news in China. So basically they're talking about like President Xi still talking. No mention of anything about Wuhan. Everybody's happy during Chinese New Year. Finally, in the last page, Chinese New Year, so happy, everybody happy. Finally, at the last page, very simple. So basically, say, so the central government really doesn't care about these people dying. That you're gonna have to protect yourself. You're on your own. We're not lacking anything to help your people. So don't panic, okay? Everything's fine. Didn't even mention about how to manage the people in Wuhan, the lockdown. Not talking about food or water or anything. During SARS, the hospital in Taiwan are very methodological, SOP and all that. All the officials came out and talk and have, but comparing to China, everything is in the dark. Nobody come out to have news conference or anything. So when there's a first thing in America, was the first one, the Wuhan, America, the CDC immediately came out to talk about this. Of course, the reaction compared to China is it's horrendous and horrible. How they lack of empathy with their own people, and no help to these people. So basically, they're saying that the entire China is surrendering to this coronavirus into Tibet, and Xi Jinping is crisis of being have to step down, take responsibility of this. So finally, they have a news conference came out in Hebei, which is very close to Wuhan, and there's only the governor came out. Okay, because they didn't even wear a mask when the governor came out, because Wuhan is a city, it's not a state. So they say that. Okay, I saw that news. I saw that bit of news that the governor, for the Wuhan city came out and say, "Oh, we have plenty of masks. It's like 108亿, that's 1 billion masks available for you, so no worry." But in the middle of his speech, somebody gave him a paper. Sorry, it's wrong. It's not 1 billion. It's 100 million. Right in the middle of the speech. Okay. Right after that, he changed again. Somebody gave him a paper. You can see that on YouTube. It says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It's not 108 million. It's 108,000 masks." So the difference is like, a million times difference. It's just in one speech. So 100 times different. So you're the first one in line, and you don't even know your numbers, and you have to change, you don't even know what the hell is going on. So they're calculating. The people who stayed behind was about 1 million people. If you only have 108,000 for 1 million, it's not enough. 800 million people have no mask. So calculating that, so 9 people have to use 1 mask. It's very horrendous. It's very scary. So even hospitals lacking mask. So basically, he's saying that the fundamental kind of purpose of having this kind of news conference is that you need to reassure the public, of what's going on. You're telling people what you're doing and what is happening, but this is the total opposite. What you're gonna do, what you're gonna do for the future, how you're gonna do that. But this, you need to give people confidence. Even if aliens attacking people, you still have to say that you give people confidence, But you can't. This is very scary. So this what they're doing is very scary. They can't. The government have no confidence. The two possibilities. They don't understand the virus, the government. So they have no confidence. They don't know. Or they. So first possibility is that they really have no idea. They have no confidence in the virus. That's why they don't know what to say to the public to give confidence. Second possibility is the total opposite, is that they know the virus is so bad that they cannot promise anything. They can't say anything, because the P4 virus. So right before a few days, the outbreak, so there was this Shi Zhengli. She's a P3. She's a laboratory P3 of the P3. She's from the P3 laboratory. P4 is very and even gave the medal to the French prime minister for thank them for the P4 P4. So screw the French. No, I'm sorry. So it's not. It should have been the official from the laboratory P4 come out, but no. Now it's P3, only P3. So you should be using P4, not P3, for when they have people come out to talk about this virus. They're not using P4 because P4 it's not only a laboratory, it's also a biological weapon laboratory. That's why they can't have anybody from P4 to talk about this thing. So Trump is very concerned about it and said, they say that Trump is offering help as early as January 6th to tell Xi Jinping, his best buddy. China refused. So back and forth, China kept refusing aids from America and other countries. So we're very concerned. Why wouldn't you want to let other people? So you're talking about So when you're talking about a government that is a totalitarian dictatorship, they don't want the ugly side of things. That's the things that they don't want you to know. Because they're dictatorship. Otherwise, they lose control. So what is the impact on the economy? We'll talk about it later. He always does that. Second, so the people start to come out and try to do something for themselves. So in a very bad traditional society, when they can't trust the government, they will help themselves. So that's So just a little bit. That's the most scary part, when the people lost trust in the government. If this virus is controllable, then we're okay. Once the weather gets better. Yeah. But we're hoping that, when the weather is warmer, it will disappear. What if it's not true? What if it's not controllable? So they say that they will let the people die first, then they would treat, so it's very serious challenge. So he's also he says that communist government really should come out to do at the front line. So he's a very famous scholar as well on Taiwan and China. He says that the communist government should send out more people to the front line. Right now they are pushing other people to take care of this virus, and so the government is being questioned, is being very strongly, which is very bad for the Xi government. So Xi is directly controlling the situation. 20 committees, almost. They don't understand, and question. We have so many people working on it and all that, and all the governors that come out, they are all hiding. Even the Wuhan officials, we only see one governor came out. Nobody else is out to talk about this. So the communist government is ready to not take the responsibility because nobody's coming out. Let's say 1911, there was a pandemic. 1967, during the Cultural Revolution, Mao was said cannot go into details, but that event almost cost Mao's control of the Communist Party back in the Cultural Revolution. And because all these people, politicians, using the crisis to, get back at other politicians in China, and because of that, it's so bad that the prime minister had to come out back then. One second. So Mao Zedong actually took an airplane out just to control the situation. He was so challenged that Mao Zedong never took airplane. That was the first time in his life took an airplane to control the situation. He actually had to take the plane out to control the situation, during his political life because of the crisis. So would the same thing happen to President Xi? Because people are swinging this at him. Just describing what's going on. So she's a doctor. She's a famous doctor in Taiwan. And so how is it? MD, PhD. So he's talking about, he's a family doctor. She's a family doctor. So he's talking about what happened in SARS in 2003. So she's evaluating, so he's saying there are two ways to looking at this. It's called the rate of death. It's hard for me to translate. It's all this,
Do the best you can.
Yeah. So MERS, SARS, so Ebola, SARS. But it's more than 50% of death. 41 people. So in the 41 people, it's 6 people died from the first group of people. So 15% was the initial death rate. So basically, 1 in 10 people will die. But as the number changes and progresses, and looking from a professional point of view, it's the death rate. She says that death rate is actually decreasing, so that's what you're talking about. Yeah. So if I get this virus, right, the rate of infection is high. If it's 1 to 1, it's not so bad. It would, so 1 to 0.5, 0.5, so it pretty much died down. SARS RO was 0.448. 1918 Spanish flu was 1.8. It's a little bit different from your figures, but so basically, it's within this one, like 0.8, and the doctor from Harvard, the epidemiologist, is Holy Mother of God. So he's describing this Wuhan 3.8 ROA for Wuhan virus. Very, very high, very quick. So if we're looking at Taiwan, so they say that don't panic. So basically she's saying that this RO 3.8 is under the circumstance when people did not know about the situation, and So it was spread quickly because people did not have, more prevention. But now people are more aware of the situation of preventing, wearing masks, away from people. And
should go down.
yeah, so it
We're
be
seeing the arrow with about 2.3.
yeah, and that it become more control. Yeah, that's Taiwan though. I don't know about China. So he said from WHO, there's some things they suggest. So using alcohol, if you touch something, or use soap. So that's some she's explaining WHO. So even if you get it, don't panic, because you might even if you think you touch somebody, you still want to you can still prevent. So the way you wash your hands is important. Your nails in between your fingers should rub. It's not just using hands like over the water. No, it's not just rinsing. You really have to rub. So keep your nails short. So it's not rinsing. It's every single gap, in between the spaces, the back, the front, and especially the nails, the fingers, and your wrists. You should wash up to your wrists. So when children, parents, you should help. You have to brush your teeth well. I mean, it's just like brushing teeth. You gotta really get to the gaps and everything. So that's why the spread in Taiwan should go down, and that. So there are a few signs that. So he's using somebody else's graph. His question, he's telling. So he's actually saying that it's gonna come down. It's the first group of 41 people. The blue ones are the people who are in the regular hospital. So the highest is actually between 25 to 49. Within those 41 people, the younger ones are actually easily to the worst. In the 8 cases in Taiwan, it's all over 50. Second, the market, they're trying to find out their history. So these people didn't go to the market, and these people are the ones that went to the market. So some people didn't go to the market. So is it spread by the people? So is there secondary, So now they're kind of saying the same thing, similar things, with different angles. Money. This is actually a supposedly a show like Bloomberg, economic, but they've now talk about a lot about politics and. Yeah. So now they talk about the economic impact. He's a famous economic. So this is So this is different countries' impact so far because of the Wuhan. So Taiwan is down 5%, all the way. French is 2%, Japan is 3%, Korea 4%, Dow Jones is 2%.
It's a Shanghai index.
Yeah, A50. Yeah, Shanghai is down 2% only. A50 is down 8%. Shangzhen, wait, I don't know what is A50. Is it the blue chips? Yeah, because Wuhan has a lot of industrial factories there. So this is the first time Foxconn actually, the largest impact is 2012. Whew, $2 trillion gone. Wow, 5 billion gone. Why so bad? Foxconn, let's look at Foxconn. Because during Chinese holiday, America is only 2%, so Taiwan is bad because we have a lot of factory in Wuhan. 20 Taiwanese factories. It's either so Apple could be impacted. Foxconn definitely. I don't know what's KY. Apple say that. Oh, so Apple says that they project they're going to be very low for the first quarter. Apple Cook says that because of the Wuhan, because the factory, so their shipping could be greatly impacted. So yesterday, Apple came out to say that projection for the first quarter is going to be impacted. So Foxconn is very worrisome. There's another factory. So the spread of the virus, it could impact Apple very much because Wuhan so Wuhan they're trying to make Wuhan kind of like the Silicon Valley in China, and they already invested a lot of money into it, a lot of semiconductor, IT industry, chips, and all that. Heavily invested in Wuhan, very centralized in Wuhan. So a lot of things are happening in Wuhan on the tech sector. Yeah, so I don't know what's the impact. So the Chinese has a semiconductor, wants to dominate the world semiconductor in 2015. So you see, this is America is behind this. They're trying to hit their tech sector. They don't want China because the semiconductor, yeah, they want to dominate the world. That's their. So this is the heart of this technology semiconductor in China, Wuhan. So this is the perfect spot to hit. You can't, if Wuhan is closed down, the whole tech sector is basically, in limbo in the hospital too. Wait, let's see. Yeah, so he's just showing the graph that, like, centralized, advanced. It's not just, low tech, it's high tech. High tech in Wuhan, it's very centralized. So I tell you, America